Now, 1 in 3 Australians suffer from fatty liver disease, which involves the accumulation of too much fat in the liver and the ailments that can come from this. So joining us is clinical nutritionist Sarah Di Lorenzo and author of the new book, The Liver Repair Plan. Welcome to the show, Sarah.
Hi, good morning, and thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to chat about our amazing liver.
Yes. Now, can you please go into how our liver works? What does it do for us?
Okay, well, for starters, our liver has around 500 different functions. But, primarily, you think of everything that you eat, it goes to your digestive tract and then into the bloodstream, straight into, via the portal vein, into our liver to be detoxed. It's filtering like 1.8 litres of blood per minute, which is absolutely incredible. Yeah, it seems like while we're chatting right now, we are constantly, it's such a hard-working organ. It actually, it plays a role in blood clotting, in also with maintaining blood pressure, blood glucose, producing ketones, regulating hormones, making cholesterol. What else? It's a pantry of I always call it a little pantry of vitamins and minerals. It keeps our red blood cells healthy. It is so incredibly hardworking. And you know what? Even our metabolism, it has a huge role in our metabolism. So if we want that working well, if it's not a sluggish, metabolism leads to things like weight gain, or people can't understand why they're struggling and producing bile to break down fats. What else can I think of? It's incredible. Energy, filtering, as I mentioned. So I absolutely think that everyone needs to understand and appreciate how incredible our liver is, because no one's really talking about it, which is why I wrote the book, which is another reason why.
I wish we could make Sarah get excited about liver.
Well, I am, because I know, I always think about, the holistic approach to health and wellness, and that's why I kind of get into all these books like The Gut Repair Plan, and it all started by just imagine if everything's working well, how amazing you feel, quality of life, energy, chi, vitality, and people just don't have that when organs have got disease, and we know that. So, yes, I love all things health and wellness, clearly.
It's such an amazing organ, isn't it? Because you can actually cut a third of it off and it will regenerate as well. But look, it's a bit of a minefield because, you can have some symptoms, you can have weight gain, but how do you really know? Explain to sort of our listeners how can they pinpoint if there's something wrong with their liver?
Well, for starters, I always tell people, just as a general guide, go and get your blood test done annually just to see things. I do it as my birthday. Yeah, I'm a December baby, and every December I get my bloods done. It's just a reminder.
Is that a good time to do it? What a great Christmas present.
I just do it because it's probably a good time before you go into Christmas.
Exactly.
As a rule, but if you've got any signs and symptoms, so generally just always say, your health is your job, and it's your responsibility to be managing that. But I've got a little kind of checklist that I always ask people, and it's these really obvious signs that you can, 5 kind of pinpoint signs. Like if you've got brain fog, if you have got weight gain that you can't explain, if you've got digestive issues, skin issues, and the biggest one, if you're just waking up tired all the time, that is one of the biggest telltale signs, because our liver I'm obsessed with circadian rhythms. I have a huge passion and obsession with circadian rhythms. Now, if your liver if you're waking up between 1 and 3 a.m. and you just don't know why, or you're tossing and turning, or you're a little bit restless, and then you wake up tired, that's when our liver is peak detox time at that time. So you really have to understand, different times of night waking can mean different things for our health, but that is very, very a big telltale sign that you've got some liver. Your liver is struggling to really, detoxify. But other things, and this is something other people so many people don't talk about. Low vitamin D is related to fatty liver disease. I'm obsessed with vitamin D. I want to be the national brand ambassador for vitamin D, because we don't get it, and we live in a world where everyone is literally hiding from the sun. I'm not telling people to go lay in the sun with baby oil, but the sun is 20 minutes, an hour a day. Low vitamin D is another big one. But other signs that you might not, but it's a little bit more obvious, are things like, you might have some hair loss, your urine might be darker, your stool might be lighter coloured. This is a little bit gross, but you're farting too much. And you think, I'm farting all the time. I'm not really sure why. And then people self-diagnose IBS issues. I'm feeling a little bit dizzy, bad breath, shortness of breath would be another one, bloating, What else? Right, this is what I've seen when patients come into my clinic with really obvious liver disease. They actually have right upper quadrant pain and I can't really move forward. Another one is have a look at your tongue. If it's a little bit too swollen, there's like a little bite marks on the side. Other one, bruising easily, that's another one. Just to look at someone, you could actually see dark circles under their eyes. More advanced, obviously, the jaundice you would see with yellowish skin and yellow eyeballs. So, yeah, there's a lot of signs and symptoms. Another one would be a bit of a personality change, which people can put down to different things. So you can see how people can think, I'm losing hair, and it might be I've got iron deficiency. So there's a lot of, but anyway, I'm going back to get your blood test done just to make sure. And I want to point out something about blood tests, because when we start seeing liver disease in the blood, and it might only be slightly elevated, and people might look at it, it's just slightly above, it's not a lot. I'll tell you right now, what you've done in your 20s and 30s and 40s is going to show up in your blood in your 50s. So don't ignore that. Don't ignore that, because people think, it's only a little bit there. And I'm thinking, hold on a minute, our liver is so gorgeous and forgiving. It's forgiven you, and now it's actually not forgiving you anymore. So don't, and then it's reversible. I've reversed it so much in my clinic. Not obviously. Even cirrhosis, when it gets to that point, I've had huge success with that, but that's hardcore 12 months of working with someone. So, yes.
Sarah, if we can just take a step backwards and a deep breath just for a moment, What exactly, now we're talking fatty liver, and it's a phrase that often GPs throw at people and say, yeah, you got a fatty liver. The response, what do I do about it? And usually, not usually, but often the GP will say, no, just don't worry about it. But of course, once you give that statement, I'm holding up your book. Sorry about the dog ears, but I've marked various things that I want to go back and revisit. Could you explain just briefly what fatty liver means? Now, we assume, and many people are told, just don't eat fat, go back on it. But it's carbs that are probably the unknown incriminating factor as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. Look, if we look at really fatty liver, we're talking about metabolic dysfunction, which is associated with steatotic liver disease or fatty liver disease. So I'm not really talking about like alcoholic liver disease, or I'm not to alcohol liver disease, or the genetic or autoimmune. What we're really commonly seeing, as you mentioned with the GP, is saying you've got a bit of a fatty liver. It does come from alcohol, of course, but it is, as you mentioned, carbs, because the thing is, the biggest driver for fatty liver disease is insulin resistance. So that is what drives it. So what's that? Refined sugar, refined carbohydrates, as well as, and the other thing I also wanted to, so it's poor diet and lifestyle choices, lack of exercise, too much stress, but there's other things people do ignore or aren't aware of, and that is taking too many supplements, like it just can be an assault on the liver, and also too many pharmaceutical medications. I can't tell you how many patients I see that come in and they're on these medications. And do you know why you're taking that? When did you last get that checked? When did you last see your GP? Why have you been on Stilnox for 20 years? Why are you taking antidepressant? And have you been reviewed in the last 12 months? Oh, no, I just thought I'd continue with it. And people get slack and they just continue taking medication. So that's the other one I always tell people, please go and make sure you only ever take, and that includes supplements as well, what your body needs, because it puts a huge strain on our liver. It really does. So that's another big one that I think, and also, look, obvious ones, smoking and vaping, they just do absolutely no benefits for our liver whatsoever. And sorry, I'm not going to be liked for this one, but tattoos as well. They've actually been shown. I don't know if you've read that one, Gerald, but in the book, but they're actually...
Yes, I did read that.
Yeah, it's an interesting one too when you look at that. So.
Oh, wow.
I don't have any tattoos, I can proudly say.
No, well, I don't either. But maybe we're just old-fashioned, Sarah.
There's no need to panic because, as Zoe pointed out, the liver is something that can grow back. And as you so well point out in your book, The Liver Repair Plan, it says 4 weeks to better liver health. You can reverse it. Go and grab this book and learn some more. Sarah Di Lorenzo, clinical nutritionist, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. And I'm going to finish with this. For anyone out there listening to this amazing radio show that I've just loved being a guest on, enjoy your cup of coffee, because coffee is one of the best things for our liver health. Yay to coffee. Coffee lovers out there, good morning. Go and rejoice that coffee. It will lower your risk of liver disease. Just be careful of what you add to it, okay? So no sugar. Just go and have maybe a little bit of almond milk or... Anyway, so that's my parting words. But yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Love chatting with you. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday to you. Sarah's definitely had her quadruple shot of coffee this morning. You can also check out her website, sarahdilorenzo.com. Coming up, the latest info on living with acute pain here on the House of Wellness.